In this episode, I'm going to talk about my definition of choking and throwing. So welcome to Mind Games TV 28. What is choking? Okay, so choking is kind of used for everything in esport. It's used for like anytime somebody feels like they didn't perform up to the level that they should have. Most of the time people use choking to describe why they are not Platinum 1 when they should be Platinum 1 or something, or like when they screw up a skill that they haven't otherwise mastered. So choking is used way too often to describe something when people are failing at a skill that they aren't good enough to succeed at 100% of the time, or to describe inconsistency. I'm going to give you my Weldon's sports psychological definition of choking, and it comes from the concept of playing down to somebody's level. So if you learn an elite skill, you will go through 4 general stages of development. The first stage being that you are unaware that you are bad at the skill, and that you are bad at this, and that you are bad at the skill. So the first stage is you are bad at the skill, and you're unaware of it. So let's say that this is a certain smoke throw in CS:GO, where there's this throw that could go over the map and land in a certain spot, and you don't even know that it's something you can't do, and you also can't do it. Then you become aware that it is something that you can't do, and you can't do it, so you start training it. So now you're aware that you're bad at it, and you start training it, but you're still bad at it. Then you get to the third stage, and this is the stage where you are aware that you are doing it, and you're forcing yourself to consciously, get in the right spot, back up, 3 steps, angle it correctly, and throw it, and you're also good at it, so you can do it, and you're focusing on doing it. But it's not always consistent, because you still have to focus really hard to do it right. If you just flip it out there, it doesn't go. So you still have to focus to make it happen. Okay, so this is not very smooth, and it's not very fast, but it's getting pretty consistent. Then you get to the 4th stage, which is automated. Now this is when David Beckham shoots a goal, he doesn't think about it. It's completely learned motor movement. So this is now you don't think about it anymore, just like at the beginning, and you are good at it. Instead of you don't think about it and you're bad at it, you are no longer aware of it as a skill. It's just something you can do. And pretty soon you're thinking this is something that's so easy, you just do it. We develop these skills all the time in our sport without ever being aware that we're training them so much. And pretty soon you forget that you ever kind of spent time at it, and you see new players and you flame them for being bad at the kind of basic stuff that you spent so many hours perfecting and automating. So essentially what happens when you choke is you become very self-focused. So we know that the highest level of performance mindset, the best in the zone performance, comes from a task-focused mind. So your mind is focused on the task, not on the self. Your mind is focused on the present, not on the future or the past. And your mind is focused non-judgmentally, so just factually about everything that's happening, and not any sort of judgment mixed in there. Now, what happens when you choke is you become self-focused. So you start thinking oh God, I'm going to miss this smoke. Oh God, I can't miss it. I missed it twice in a row. And what's happening? Did I lose the skill to throw this? So you focus on executing it perfectly. You're okay, walk to here, back up, aim, throw, and then you miss it. Because you are consciously focusing on your motor movements, on this skill that your mind has already automated, that your motor neurons have already automated. They just do it naturally based on various visual stimuli and decision making. When you focus on it, you actually regress back to the point when you were doing the self-focused and good at it skill. So you've stepped back in skill level. You're playing down to that level. We see this in tennis a lot with people who are serving, and they double fault, and then they double fault again, and then they start really focusing on trying to do their serve right, and they start looking like they never practiced a serve before. I mean, they start looking like somebody who's never made it to a Grand Slam title before because they're focusing on their serve, and the mind cannot control that complex a motor movement. It's not possible. That is why we automate things in the first place, is because our brain cannot consciously keep all of the variables into play when we are doing these kinds of incredibly complex movements. And so essentially, when you self-focus, and you like choke, you're kind of tilting yourself, you literally regressing your mental and motor capacity back to a previous level of skill. So that, for me, that is what choking is. And I see this. When I observe a game, I can watch and I can say that was choking, and that was just their bad. And hilariously enough, this was when I first started working with Copenhagen Wolves. They had this problem where, they ascribed, this is very common in League of Legends, they ascribe everything to choking. Anytime you make a mistake, you choked. Make a mistake, choked. Make a mistake, choked. You had a decision you wanted to do, you couldn't do it, you choked. Okay. I remember this one distinct time in a game when I gave an analysis to the team, and I said, this to me does not look like choking. This looks like it's not well trained. Looks like you're just bad at it. And they were like, oh, okay, well, so how do you fix that? And I said, well, you practice it. So they practiced it and they got better at it. That's as simple as it is. I think choking is like ascribing everything to choking is a form of mental weakness. I think that if you stop saying that you're choking all the time, which, let's be honest, like most of the time you're not choking. Like people choke when they get on stream for the first time and have thousands of people watching them and have to perform and get really self-conscious. People choke when their mom walks into the room, or when Faker walks into the room and steps up behind them and is looking over their shoulder, and they're like all of a sudden self-conscious. People choke when they get on stage and they realize, this is being televised and people are watching them, they get self-conscious. That self-consciousness that makes you like control your motor movements, that is choking. Screwing up is not choking. Being too relaxed and just like screwing up is just being lazy. So that is just, you should train or focus harder. Now, throwing, okay, the technical definition is that you purposely lose, okay, but it's also used a lot in the vernacular to mean that you like get too lazy and make a mistake, which gets rid of your lead, and you lose the momentum and they win the game as a result of your mistake. So that to me comes from a lack of focus. It is a mental toughness issue when you kind of relax in your lead and you don't take into account things like momentum and their coming from behind attitude and their willingness to take risks, and you don't play fearlessly by either playing too cautiously or too aggressively. When you take high risk, high reward plays or high risk, low reward plays, or you don't take enough risks, then you risk this quote-unquote throwing the game. And this is about understanding momentum and understanding the strategy of the game that you're playing. What is a low-risk, high-reward play? What are they all? When you are like ahead in momentum, you want to execute on as many low-risk, high-reward plays as humanly possible so that you don't end up throwing by doing a high-risk, high-reward play, or by doing no-risk, no-reward plays consistently until basically they catch up. So that to me is what choking and throwing means, and I hope that this was useful to you. You can find out more about how to sponsor this TV show, Mind Games TV, at mindgames.gg/patron. I keep saying / because it is a / but I realize I don't need to say that anymore, so I'm trying to cut it out. mindgames.gg/patron, where you can sponsor Mind Games for $5, €5 a month. You can cancel or refund at any time, no big deal. You get your picture on the page and credited in this video when I say, check out the page to see my 5 awesome patrons, of which I hope there are many more of you. But the 5 that I have are rocking. Check them out. And you can also leave a quote there. I know that I think only Jeremy so far has left a quote to share with everybody, but you can email me a quote and I'll put it up with your profile. Anyway, yeah, I'm going with plaid. You might see that I'm recording this pretty much at the same time I recorded episode 27 because I'm wearing the same shirt So it's not that I'm wearing the same shirt 2 days in a row. It's that I actually recorded these 2 videos on the same day, but I'm putting them up on different days. I probably shouldn't have admitted to that, but I didn't want you guys to think that I actually don't wash my clothes or change. Also, I'm growing a beard. This is only 1 day in. No, I'm kidding. It's actually a couple days. But seriously, when I was living in Japan, I had to shave twice a day. It was really, really aggravating. I don't know what they put in the water there, but it was wild how fast my beard was growing in that country. Yeah, that's about it. Talk to you later.